welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back. So the last video with this Deltaforce 29 twin, we actually almost sunk it. As you can see, it's packed full of foam. We didn't sink it, but she flipped, the hatch came off, and she was floating bow up. An RC boater's worst nightmare, right? Especially for me running in the river. I run in it's a brackish water. Here lately, it's been pretty fresh. We've had a lot of rain, you know, pushing down the river, so it was mainly fresh water. So I'm actually going to include a few clips, the flip, when I flip the boat at the river, and then we're going to basically go over what I do after I basically sink a boat. And this is a good idea for pretty much anybody, like if you run in freshwater lakes, ponds, or especially if you get water in a boat after running in brackish or salt water. Okay. Ooh. Damn. My boat's floating bow up. That's the name of the game though. So I'll have to take this home and wash it out. Oh, I actually have some fresh water in the truck I'm gonna go hit it with. All right, so I'm back at the house here. Got my little buddy out here. Say hey. Hey. We're cleaning this thing out. Even though it was pretty much fresh water where I flipped it at, just going to go through it, clean it out with fresh, you know, fresh water here. Because I do run in like a brackish water area. Some days it's salty, some days it's fresher. We've had a lot of rain, so the water was pretty much fresh today, which is good. So I usually hit my connectors if I get water in my boat. If I flooded my boat or submerged it, I'll actually spray water in the battery. Hope I don't get water on my lens. Spray it right through the battery. You see that? See it coming out the bottom? Okay, you see that? It was full of water. Do the same thing to this one. See the bottom? I'm flushing the battery out with fresh water. The balance connector, where the wires go into the connection. Okay, and get the balance plug on this. All my batteries are treated with dielectric grease. All the connectors and wires. The boat. In the motor, I'm going to take the motors out. I'll spray them down with electromotive cleaner. I'll clean the stator out because it's probably going to have rust on it now. ESCs, spray them out. The caps on the ESC if you got them. Spray those out with fresh water. Spray this out with fresh water. The boat worked. When I got it back, I tested it, it worked. The receiver, hit it with some fresh water. It's got dielectric corrosion X in it, so that's good. Spray the boat down. Spray water through my pickup. Get all that salt water out the cooling system. Man, that's a shame we lost that damn GPS. It pissed me off. Alright you guys, so this is my dehumidifier. I actually will set my batteries on it like so. Boom, boom, boom. And then I'll put my boat on top. And this does a real good job of drying out the inside of my boat. I do it after every run with every boat. I actually put them all, every one of them on the dehumidifier every time I go out. It's like a ritual, right? I'll keep it on there for about 15-20 minutes. It don't take long on this thing here because it's blowing dry air. So it's actually the next day, okay? We rinsed the boat out, we put it on the dehumidifier, and I actually let it sit on the dehumidifier for like 30 minutes. I put a couple more boats on the dehumidifier, and then I put this one back on the dehumidifier along with the batteries overnight. So let's check the battery voltage, make sure the batteries are good in that aspect, because sometimes, well, batteries for the most part are pretty waterproof, water resistant. You know, sometimes the water will kind of drain the voltage, so you got to make sure they're storage charged at least before you let them sit. So these are 382, 382, 380. Okay, so none of the cells have gone bad on that one there. This guy here, 382. Okay, storage charge. Okay, so I let it sit overnight, and then I put them on storage charge. I brought them down from 3.99 to 3.82 at storage, so the batteries are good. Let's check the electronics. Let's see if everything works. If everything works, I think what I want to do is pull these two motors out. I'm going to put some dielectric grease on my connections, put some dielectric grease back in my receiver, and we'll kind of go from there with it, you know, I do want to clean the motors out. I got a brand new can of this electromotive here. Picked it up this morning for this project. Okay. Both motors work. Servo works. This is an Oxidean servo. It's a shorty. Okay, well that's awesome. That's awesome. So what I did last night, before I let the boat sit on the dehumidifier all night, I actually put a little oil on the bearings on the front. I tipped it up and down, and I put some in the back, you know. Everything sounds good. The receiver, it's not twitching, you know. That's what I have issues with in that brackish water. The servo, or not the servo, well, I guess, yeah, the servo will actually glitch, and I think it's because my receiver gets submerged with water. So what I've been doing with my receivers, and this has been working out really, really good, I'll just take dielectric grease and fill this whole thing right here full. Okay, that's the way this was whenever I sunk it. And what I do is I'll actually just plug my JST right into that dielectric grease. You see that? Dielectric grease prevents corrosion on the JSTs. Check it out. See how good that JST looks? I've used dielectric grease on it since it was new. Okay, and then I'll just plug this one in. And what I did yesterday, when I got back, I took water and sprayed it. You guys probably seen me do it. Sprayed it right in the receiver. And what that did is it washed all that dielectric grease into and on the receiver board, you know. So it's pretty much packed full of dielectric grease. I've probably done that number there with this receiver about 5 or 6 times. So you can actually see the dielectric grease inside the receiver. So yeah, everything working. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pull these motors out. Yeah, with a twin, it's double the trouble, right? Twice the maintenance, you know? Yep. Okay. Don't look too bad. Twice the maintenance. I'm probably just going to take this... Probably just going to take this back one off. It's just going to make it easier so we don't have to deal with all this, you know. I got both motors like cleaned up. See, I like these little motors, man. They got Kevlar wrapped rotors. And it actually don't look that bad. This one don't. Okay, so when you pull it out, make sure there's no shims, or make sure you got the shim orientation right. No shims in this motor. How about that? Yeah, there is a shim. Okay, so we got one shim on the forward part of the motor. Alright. Okay. No shim in this one. There's a shim in that one, no shim in this one. Okay, so I need to mark this. Right side, right side, right side. There's a reason there's no shim in this one, you know. Alright, we're going to go out to the shop. There was only one shim in one motor. The other motor did not have a shim in it. So weird. So I marked the motor that had the shim, and the other motor did not have a shim. So I'm wondering if they did that on purpose on the factory due to the tolerance inside the motor. You know, it's kind of weird that only one would have a shim. It's kind of weird. So I just got back from the shop. We cleaned it with this electromotive. I just sprayed it in there and then blew it out. Pretty simple, really. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I wonder why there was only one little shim in one motor. That's so random. I know for a fact I didn't pull it out. I was careful. Anyway, I got them cleaned up. Okay. If you want to, you can get you some oil, some WD-40. Don't spray in it. Just get you something to wipe the inside of this. I think it's called a stator in there. You know, this part right here. Wipe the inside of that with some oil. I think I'll just roll up a piece of this paper towel right here and put some oil on it and clean up the inside of this. Okay, just took a drill bit. Wrapped it with some paper towel. Not a whole lot. This is just light bearing oil here. And we're going to kind of put it on there, on the inside of this. get the rust off, kind of treat it with some oil. Works for me, you know, it worked for me with a lot of different motors. That way it's less apt to rust, you know. Just how I do it. You could do it however the hell you want to. Just what I'm doing. I'm not using. Some guys use a gun cleaning brush in here. I don't do that. Good as new. While I got the oil out, I got some oil in this bearing. I went real heavy because I'm not going to take it all apart. You know, I'll just clean up the rest. Alright, so I got both of the motors back together. I used orange Loctite. I'm going to put a little drop of oil here. A little drop of oil here. I know they're shielded bearings, but it'll soak in there. Better than not doing anything for the bearings right there. A little oil right there. Not too much. Not too much, you know. Not too much. Alright. Go ahead and put the jackets back on. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Like so. And we'll go ahead and get it back in the boat. We'll get them hooked back up. I'm gonna get the collets back on, Loctited back into place, Loctite on the head screws, and we'll spool it up. All right, well, that wasn't too bad. I'm glad I went ahead and cleaned the motors out. You know, I got everything hooked back up. Let's see if the motor rotation's good. It is. Servo's working. I need to grease everything before my next run. I went ahead and put some oil on this bushing. That's a very common, the bushing on your servo. You can see I loaded it up with some bearing oil. It's a common fail. Like the bushing, if you get water in your boat, it'll lock up a lot of times, right? Some servos have bearings, some have a bushing. And you just got to make sure it's oiled. Now this servo is an Oxidean servo. I took it apart before I put it in this boat. I packed it with dielectric, Corrosion X, and the silicone watchmaker's grease for waterproofing. You know, so I didn't feel I needed to take this apart. I just greased, oiled the bushing. The motors, the river's been relatively fresh here lately, right? There is a little salt in the water, but not a whole lot this time of year. So, you know, I'm trying to push this boat for 80 plus, 85, maybe even 90 eventually. And I figured this electromotive, cleaning it out for you guys, showing you how to do it, will benefit you guys, and it'll help me out, right? Trying to push the motors for speed, so I know they're hitting on all cylinders, so to speak, you know. So these 180s, they power cut my last outing. And these are only 2968 size motor, right? But they're 3400 kV, and I was running a 1716. I also was running some heavier packs forward, so I really didn't expect these ESCs to power cut with those 1716s. I really didn't. I think it has a lot to do with the high kV, you know, period. Just high kV with the larger prop. These ESCs, they just don't like high kV motors. You know, some guys are like, well, I've never had any issues, no problems with none of my 180 Hobbywing Sea Kings, but I have had nothing but problems, and I think it's because I run motors, or try to run motors, over 2200 kV on these 180s. You know, you would think. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. So, yeah, hopefully this helps you guys out. I just wanted to, you know, make sure my boat's prepped up and ready for my next outing. Okay, so we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.